how are you able to grow this quick?
I would say in the beginning, I had a lot of networking through other, I guess we should say, other individuals that I worked with another company. So we took on a lot of work, very quickly. So we had to go from, me and two other guys to it dropped down to me and one individual and, running the business, working in the van, doing everything.
Where are you finding these people? They got to find like the right team member. And you said, sometimes they're so stoked that, they're taking the business home. You got to tell them, hey, put pause on it. Where are you finding these people that have this kind of drive?
My idea behind this was trying to create opportunities for individuals that haven't been given opportunities at other employers. So give them an opportunity in management, give them an opportunity to show, what they can really do.
All right, welcome to another edition of the Superpro podcast, the heartbeat of home service excellence. I'm Roland. I'm your host, and I'm also the co-founder of Housecall Pro, and I'm an advocate for all the hardworking pros out there that help make our homes better, safer, and more comfortable. Through Housecall Pro, I've had the privilege of supporting hundreds of thousands of pros just like you, empowering you guys to achieve more, stress less, and redefine success in our industry. Today, I'm super excited. We're going to be talking to Matt Hirthe. He's the owner of JaxPowerPro. In just 2 years, he's taken his team from handling emergency power restorations to tackling new construction. He's got commercial contracts. He's got 8 employees, 3 vans, 2 pickups on the road with a goal of $1.5 million for 2024. We're going to unpack some of his highs, his lows, and everything in between. We're going to ask him some questions about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe, just kidding. But we're going to ask how he's built one of the most trusted electrical service providers in the Jacksonville area. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
The first question I like to ask is, you're a relatively new business, just a couple years old. What was the point in time when you're like, all right, we're going to start, JaxPowerPro. We're leaving. We're doing our own thing. We're building business. Tell me the genesis story.
So for me, I've always had a very strong drive to do more. It's very hard for me to just do the bare minimum or be okay and content with what's going on. So as an electrician growing up in the industry, worked for several different companies. Before starting the company, just like fast forward through those years, and I was offered an opportunity into management, took that opportunity. When the business went through an acquisition, I decided to just go out on my own off whim. So that was, it wasn't planned by any means. I actually had a baby and another one on the way. So it probably wasn't the best time for me to try to, start a business, but I did so. And we have been successful. And so we're here just 2 years. January will be 2 years as an electrical contractor. August was 2 years owning the business. So.
I mean, you guys have grown really quick, really fast. What would you say is looking back at it, even just because it's been just a short couple years, but what was it that really got you kickstarted when getting customers, finding new business? How are you able to grow this quick?
I would say in the beginning, I had a lot of networking through other, I guess we should say, other individuals that I worked with another company.
Yep.
They started out their own company as well, right around the same duration. So they had leads for work, property management companies, other investors. So we took on a lot of work, very quickly. So we had to go from, me and 2 other guys to it dropped down to me and one individual and, running the business, working in the van, doing everything. And I started to build the company with a corporate structure, but yet we only had 2 individuals. So when I started from the beginning, we started building this corporate structure, and that just came from the background with management from the previous company. And I said, I would like to operate the company the same way that I just came from. So that's where we started creating different roles and positions and, gradually moved to where we are today. And I'm very blessed to have the individuals I have on the team. We have really hardworking individuals that take their work home. Sometimes we have to tell them to put the pause button on. But it's been Yeah.
Where are you finding these people? Because I mean, that's part of like half is like finding the new business to actually go do. The other one's like they find like the right team member. And you said, sometimes they're so stoked that they're taking the business home. You got to tell them, hey, put a pause on it. You get to work tomorrow again. Come with a fresh head.
Mhm.
Like, where are you finding these people that have this kind of drive?
Well, my operations manager, Dennis, I worked with him, and he was also a friend of mine. And part of the reason starting the company is I've seen in my experience just not enough opportunities to grow for
Mm-hmm.
individuals that work for specific companies. So my idea behind this was trying to create opportunities for individuals that haven't been given opportunities at other employers. So give them an opportunity in management, give them an opportunity to show, what they can really do. I open the door, I provide solutions, I try to give all the tools needed and let them kind of take off from there and go as they need to, guide them through the process, but also allow them to make their own mistakes so then they know how to fix.
Yeah. And do you have like a specific like training you put them through to do it the JaxPowerPro way, or are they coming in with sort of previous knowledge and experience and you're kind of like blending it together?
Well, they're coming in. So the guys in the field, obviously, they have training and they have experience in the field, and that's what we look for, a
Hmm.
lot of that. And it's not just the knowledge too, because the knowledge can be taught, but like we want to find guys that have drive, that have the want to, that have goals. We want to see guys that have not only personal goals, professional goals. And if we can do things on our end to help obtain those goals personally, that's where I get my fulfillment. To watch individuals go from, growing in just a short a bit of time. We have two in specific that have been with us for over a year and just exponential growth. I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. So personally and professionally. So that's what fulfills me as the owner and as the leader. I would like to see the the employees that come in through the store that want the opportunity and have the drive that they're given that opportunity, to grow.
Yeah.
Which when they grow professionally, they're able to also grow personally. So
Yeah, I feel like giving people the chance to prove themselves and giving them enough like autonomy and decision making power to like really take ownership of what they're doing every day gives them that sense of purpose, and you can attract some really great people from there. The trick is always making sure that they've got the right amount of opportunity within your business to like keep leveling up. But if you're able to keep pulling those contracts and bringing in business, you'll allow them to kind of like level up in those leadership and managerial skills too.
correct.
Tell me a little bit about, emergency power situations. It sounds like it can be really stressful. I've got solar, I've got battery backup, so I'm totally fine at least for a week by myself here, the family. But for people that aren't familiar with like that kind of stress, kind of explain like what happens and then what your business can like go in and provide and do about it.
So we're in the business to provide a solution. There's a problem, we provide a solution. So with the emergencies, most of them tend to be, loss of power.
Hmm.
So living in Florida, we are in Jacksonville, Florida. We do get some weather related issues that cause the emergency calls to come in. But for the most part, the emergencies that we have tended to have been, we just recently an apartment complex had lost power, and it was to four different buildings. So
Oh
it
wow,
was their,
that's a
the
big
source
one.
of the power that came from the transformer to their main distribution had lost power. So we had to, dig down, find the problem, rerun the wire, and then provide the solution to restore the power. And it was, I would say, 3 days that
Oh
it took
wow,
us to
big
do that one.
project.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang.
But
How do you
we
how do you
took
keep the
we
customer
took
calm there?
priority.
Yeah, how do you handle that? Like that seems very
So
stressful. Like how do you do that?
so Dennis, our operations manager, did a great job with handling the homeowners. So it actually was a condo association. I want to take that back. It was an apartment. It was a
Yeah.
condo. So there was actually four different owners. Luckily for us, one of them was not home. and wasn't home
Hmm.
for that duration of time. The other three did come out, ask questions, and we like to be transparent. Like, we are working on the solution. We will continue to update you as we do. But this is where we are in the process. So the
Yeah.
process is this is, and we can simply explain the process without going to super detail. And it tends to calm them down. Just to be transparent, let them know this is what it is. This is what we can do, and this is how long it's going to take.
I love
Yeah.
like the subtle golden nuggets you're dropping here, because I think that the customer communication is letting them know you're on it, you got it, you're running the process. Um, you know, it's different when you're doing home services when it's something that's like cosmetic or like but if you take away someone's like water, power, that's when things get real. But just having that transparency builds that trust, and just knowing that you're on it. I'm sure the next time anything happens, just call Jax Power again, like have them come back out.
Mhm.
Um,
And with building the company, we have built some core values, and our number one core value at the company is communication. So
mm,
what I have found it also in my experience, not only in the electrical industry, but just in the trades in general, there's a lack there of communication. Either somebody doesn't answer a phone, an email, text message, whatever it may be, means of communication. But our number one value here is communication. So we pick up the phone, we answer the email, we do it in a sufficient amount of time. And so if we fall short on communication, we fall short everywhere else. So
That's
that's what I.
that's a really good tip, especially for folks looking to get into um, situations like this, where you're truly dealing with like emergency situations, and you have to have that clear line of communication, both with your employees and your customers for sure. What
Mhm.
about when you're dealing with power? Sometimes you have to convince customers to like upgrade their systems or invest in better equipment, even when things are actually kind of like working, so they're not broken. Like, how do you
Mhm.
flip that script and show them why they need to like pull the trigger, even when they're kind of on the fence?
Typically, we'll just we like I said, being the communication and being very transparent. So our main goal when we go into a contractor's job, a customer's job, is safety. So we want to make
Mm,
sure that their systems are safe. And if something is wired incorrectly, which we have found, there's a lot of DIY or maybe another friend or family member that said, "Oh, I can do electrical work and run wires incorrectly or not put boxes, covers, plates, things necessary, run the incorrect size wiring."
hmm
So that's when we come in and we take a look at the entire project as a whole, and we offer solutions to allow them to have a safe home electrically. And then we'll move into the upgrading part. So if we go into a situation and a customer wants to add a circuit, but their panel is completely full, we there's two different options there. We can give you a tandem breaker and thin out the breakers in the panel currently, or we can upgrade the size of the panel.
hmm
Typically, most individuals will end up going with upgrading the panel because they have future necessities. So we say, look, if you're looking to add, maybe a hot tub, maybe a EV charger, maybe, some other circuitry in the near future, it would be best if you can afford to do the upgrade on the panel right now. So then moving forward, you have the availability to do so. So.
Yeah, yeah. I think giving them the option, but it sounds like you're just educating them. They come to the conclusion themselves rather than you presenting like, "Oh, this is the only way to do it." But yeah, it's one of those questions where it's like, "Oh, do you do tandem breakers and do you like thin it out a little bit to squeeze one in, or do you have future needs and let's like future proof your house?" And then the first thing you said, which is the true golden nugget, which is like, "Look, we just want to make sure everything's done in a safe way." And like that one is not even salesmanship, but that's just the reality of it. You want them to be safe, and you're being honest with it, and then everybody wants their home to be safe. When you're dealing with electricity, you don't want to cut corners on those types of things. That makes a lot of sense. At what point you're building your business, how did you come across Housecall Pro? What was like the need you were looking to fill when you're like, okay, this is what Housecall Pro is going to help me with?
So when I first started, I used a few different systems in the
Hmm.
beginning. First, just trying to do the QuickBooks method,
Hmm.
and it was too much data entry, and I, wearing many hats, just didn't have the time to do that. So started looking for a system that was a bit more robust, that was able to provide some of these solutions, to help the business run, essentially creating, how do I say this? Not hiring any more individuals to do the work and allowing a system to do the work. So one person,
Yeah.
can do it from either the home, the phone, as one, I say executive within the company, and we had no other management at the time. Being able to utilize a system like Housecall Pro was a big winner, game changer for us. And then once we started integrating management, it just made it that much better to, you know, use more of the system, so to speak. So we use a lot. I mean, we use the GPS, we use the pipeline, we use, invoicing. Everything we do, typically we try to use everything with House Call Pro, so to
Yeah.
speak. The only thing we don't use at the moment is payroll.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a relatively newer thing too. And usually, like you want to do that on like a yearly cycle, and get it in with the new year. Tell me a little
Mhm.
bit about like pipeline. What about pipeline do you think is really useful for people that are looking to automate more, in their business?
So since we've grown a bit and we started to reach more customers, we do some more work with contractors. It's been a huge game changer for utilizing the pipeline. Now, in the beginning, we didn't utilize it as much as we should have, but
Hmm.
today we have our weekly production meeting to go over, our current jobs, our estimates, our in progress, creating new buckets to drop it in, just so it makes sense and it keeps all your jobs and information organized. And
Yeah,
it's a huge thing for me, is just being organized. It's not on paper. It's not in a spreadsheet. You have to data entry,
it's
10
all
times a
there.
day to
Yeah.
update everything. Yeah. So utilizing that pipeline, pick it, move it from, the job was accepted and now we got to order materials. So we move it to that bucket. It needs to order materials. Who it helps the most, I would say, is our operations manager. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's our operation. So for him to visually look at our projects, in front of him and see where they are in progress, which ones estimates need to be completed yet, which ones need to be moved to invoicing and things of that nature. So
Yeah,
that's where,
I see a lot of pros too, that come from either pen and paper, and they'll have like, like a real world version of a pipeline where they just have like folders on the wall and they have like the piece of paper moves from like, left to right and kind of like goes like that.
yeah,
But now I see so many more businesses, they just go buy just a big screen, a cheap like, $400, 60-inch, and just throw it up on the wall. And then you can see it really easily. Every time you walk in the office, you look at it, you see the buckets, you can see the jobs. But I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier too, which is like communication and transparency, even within your own business. So everyone can kind of see, okay, I know what's kind of coming on. I know what's coming down the pipeline, which is why it's called pipeline. Um,
don't get me wrong, we still use pen and paper. I'm huge with the pen and paper, especially with our field guys. I'm just like, you need a notebook. You have to take notes when you're in the
yeah,
field. Materials that you need on a job, just put it in the notebook. Bring it in at the end of the day. Something that's,
easy for
you
them.
don't want to try to remember. Take it off your brain, put it on paper. Or put
Yeah,
it on a note in your phone. Some people use the phone. I would
yeah.
say pen and paper is still the best option to just a quick jot it down in the notebook, in the truck, and it's just, you can go back to it at any point. If you don't need it, you throw it out. So,
Yeah, I think that's a great tip too, because just getting things off your mind is super important, because you're gonna forget. Something's gonna happen, then it's gonna be tomorrow, and you'll be like, oh, what was that thing that I did yesterday? Or like, how many like linear feet of that did I use? Was it 100 or was it
yeah.
200? And like, those numbers can matter at the end of the day if you don't write those things
Oh
down.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
Or it can
Uh,
cause for, if you don't have the correct materials,
all right.
in the truck,
Yep.
and it could cause for, trips during the day to go to the supply house or back to the shop to get the materials.
Cost time.
And that
Yeah.
it's time.
That's
So
right.
more time we
Yeah.
spend on a job, even if we're still making money on that job, the more time we spend on that job, we're not moving on to the next job. So we're losing money to not start
Yep.
another job. So
Totally. And that makes sense, just documenting things. For people that have phones, I love the little action button on the new iPhone because I can click that and create a new note. I love voice dictation. Like that's the best thing. I don't have to like write stuff down because my handwriting, like nobody wants to read my handwriting. I don't even want to read my own handwriting. I can't even tell what's going on. So what do you think is the most underrated feature of Housecall Pro? What's something that you see maybe isn't talked about enough, or it's not like really even obvious, that people should be talking about or using?
well, that should be using, I would say, for one of the one of the big milestones for us is when we started using the House Call Pro Assist,
Mm.
and it
Hmm.
just allowed myself and my operations manager to continue to be in the field, or answer a phone call that we're on, or finish up our email, whatever it was, and not quick have to answer that phone, and allow it to go to the assist, and then we reach back out to the customer or whoever it is, like within 30 minutes or such. So that was a huge milestone for us. Now we have an office manager that answers the phone, and if she can't get to it, it goes to the assist. So we still have the House Call Pro Assist as well.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, when you're early on in kind of your business and there's so much going on, sometimes just stopping the inbound, but not losing those leads is really important. So you're
Mm-hmm.
still getting those, but you can focus on some of those other higher value tasks, that you
Yeah.
really need to be focused on as a business owner. Super helpful.
And with the assist, I mean, you can have them answer and gather whatever information that
Mhm.
you need. So, I mean, we have a dialogue script that they go through and answer the questions, and we gather that information. And if we have to reach back out, create an estimate, start a job, whatever it may be, we just do so, and then reach out through the system, through the messaging on the system. And that
Yeah.
works good because everybody likes to just text. So,
Yep.
you shoot a message out of the system, and everybody likes that.
Yeah, and it's all in one place. So, you're not gonna like lose it, or, if you need to share it with someone else, it's there. You can tag them in it, you can add them to the conversation. It's like multi-threading, which is pretty neat. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about like the Housecall Pro community. What sets it apart, and why are you a super pro? Like, what does it mean to you?
Oh, to be honest, I haven't been involved with the community as much as I would like to be. I think moving forward into next year, I would be able to integrate more with the community and the Super Pro. But we did get the achievement for Super Pro. Super excited, and it just shows how much effort we put in just a short bit of time, into this entire entity. And it's not just myself, but just everyone that has helped create this company. So.
Yeah, the full team. It's a team effort to get that status, and you guys have obviously been doing things right to kind of get where you're at. All right, rapid fire round here. What's the one tool in your truck that if it broke tomorrow would make your job a nightmare?
Mm, in my truck, I don't know. I just go buy a new one, but I mean, our meter, an electrical, our meter.
Yeah,
So metering out um, a lot of our troubleshooting calls. I would say, we need that. Um,
you need that tool. You need that
yeah.
tool. All right.
Yeah.
What's like the biggest risk you've taken where you're thinking like, oh, that's gonna sink us, but you went for it anyways and it worked out.
I say the biggest risk I took in the beginning was just, purchasing as many trucks as we did, getting as many guys as we did, and then just continuing to drive in that work, and work on the relationships that we currently had with the contractors, investors, property management companies, and then, drive in more,
Yeah.
as we're working on the jobs. So,
Yeah. I think sometimes for business owners, it's hard to like hire ahead. Or, when I tell people like you should always be hiring, you should always look out for good people, but like why? Like I don't even have the work to support it. It's definitely sometimes a little uncomfortable to get a little over your skis. But I mean, you've done a great job at just capitalizing on it and just like full steam ahead. Um, what's one
mhm.
habit you've had to break? to make sure that you run your business more efficiently in these last couple of years? It's like a habit you had.
Like a bad habit? Oh, or a habit I had to break. One thing that I had to break that was a habit. So it just comes back to my inner OCD, but a habit was just like knowing that if I'm not out there doing the physical job, the jobs have to be bid accordingly. That we know the process of electricians to do the job, other hired electricians, and not bidding the work as myself or my operations manager going out there to do the work. And that was a tough habit to get through to, both him and I, not understanding why the job's not getting done. What do you mean? Why can't it get done? Or why is it taking this long? Or what is the process? What's the holdup? And him and I are both similar in the aspect where we'll go there with not even enough tools or material and still get it done. And that's just the drive, the want to. And that's what we look for with, future guys coming in, is just that drive and that want to, that they'll, no matter what situation, they'll find a solution. So
Definitely. Yeah. I think, that's a really important, I don't know, I guess like skill to be able to build is, no one's probably going to do it as perfect or as fast or as good or whatever as you feel like you could have done it. And so if you're out there bidding all the projects as if you're the one that's doing it, you're going to find yourself, in a little bit of trouble, because no one's going to have exactly that same drive, no matter how hard you try. If you do find someone like that,
because,
I don't know.
And it's hard because you bid jobs based on your experience, and
Right.
it's your experience. So, when you, now in our bidding process, we have certain numbers that we use, for man hours, and we look at jobs in a duration that, even if, we had, say, our slowest guy at the company doing it, we know that he would be able to get it done in that time. And
That's right.
I say slowest in the nicest way, but just some people just don't work as fast.
That's right. Or they might take a little more time doing a little more extra detail,
Or too many smoke breaks, or too many
Yeah.
water breaks, or their phone's ringing too much, or
That's right.
That's all a process we work through. But
Yeah.
today I'm very blessed to have the guys that we have in our field. Our office manager, she is just spectacular. That was a huge milestone for us as well.
Yeah.
Being able to delegate tasks out, and she's helped me remove a lot of tasks off of my plate, as well as my operations manager, so we can just, he can efficiently do his job, and I can efficiently, oversee the company and play my position and role.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. You've given us so many golden nuggets. Before we go away, what's one thing you would tell yourself maybe a couple of years ago, maybe 10 years ago? What piece of advice would you put out into the world?
I would learn more about finance, as much as you can about finance, and how to have it best suit you. I think that's one of the toughest things within the business, is the finance piece. So being able to utilize all areas, and know what numbers to look at, know how to make good decisions, and having a good bookkeeper, I would say, with the beginning of the business. If I would say, making sure that you are working directly with that bookkeeper, you're learning everything that you need to know within the QuickBooks. I would say that's a piece that I would tell myself starting again, like, spend more time on that. But there's only so much time in the day. So
That's right. That's great advice. Knowing your numbers is critical, but also just like being organized, and as someone that's might be really good in the trade that you specialize in, numbers might not be your strong suit, or you might not want to like do those things. But the reality is the more that you know, especially as a business owner, the better you'll be able to set your business up for success, and know the kind of risks that you can take without like completely screwing over your cash flow, right? Which is the lifeblood of your business. You gotta hit payroll, especially when you've got people out there that trust you for that salary. It's been awesome, Matt. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Super excited about this episode, and stay tuned, everybody, for another great episode next week. See you guys later. Thanks, Matt.
thanks for having me. Bye.
The Superpro podcast is brought to you by Housecall Pro, the leading platform for the home service industry. Housecall Pro streamlines your workflows and simplifies everything from scheduling and dispatching to communication and billing. Unlock the full potential of your home service business with Housecall Pro. Work smarter and more efficiently with streamlined workflows and detailed analytics. Win more business and serve your customers well, every single time. Join more than 40,000 home service pros who have already revolutionized their businesses. Work smarter with streamlined workflows, get organized with centralized information, and scale your business your way. Learn more at housecallpro.com.